we did the first one, the first Wild Fens book, you cast them. You gave me suggestions of actors and actresses that you thought would be, and that was really helpful to get the. And I think over time they became the characters for me became more. That was a place for where I started, but they became more than that as I got to know each of the characters. For me, yeah.
At first they start off being inspired by.
Yeah.
And then before long, it's in my head, solidified.
I'm staying here, he told them. Oscar, Louis hissed again, with more urgency in his voice. And lazily, he raised his head to peer at him. Both boys were staring at the carpet at their feet. What? He asked, shoving himself up onto one elbow to see what the fuss was about. And then he saw it. And the blood in his veins ran cold. And the prospect of a perfect summer died with the last remnants of the day's sun. Jack Cartwright, how are things in Lincolnshire?
Graham Mack, very well, thank you. Very well. I'm looking forward to talking to you.
It's the first time we've spoken since we were hanging out at Downton Abbey.
Oh, when we was at the castle, yes.
Highclere Castle, yeah. You arranged, it was brilliant. You arranged for a lovely day out with the team that work on your books. And I bet a lot of people would be quite surprised at how big a team it is. Now, I've got some photos from the day just to start off with. They weren't even all there, the team, right? So this is you and I with Highclere to prove that I'm not making this up in Berkshire. That's us there at the castle. That's your author and your narrator. And then this is the team that was there. So do you want to run us through who? That's quite a team to start with when you think this is doing books. So if you want, can you start with who we've got there, Jack?
I tell you what, I won't give any names just in case people don't want their names put out on the podcast.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
There's some partners there as well and some plus ones.
Yeah.
So there is obviously myself and my wife.
Mm-hmm. Right in the middle there.
Yeah, I might need to put my glasses on. Bear with me. There is a proofreader, my narrator, whoever he is.
Yeah, he's all right though.
Graphic designer, bookkeeper, a couple of accountants, proofreader. And my personal assistant, of course, Karen, the lovely Karen, who helped me arrange today.
It was lovely.
Fantastic. I don't want to point out who's who, just in case people don't like that. But and then we was missing. So Karen lives in between Tenerife and Edinburgh, so she flew back from Tenerife to join us. There was somebody missing from the social media team who basically lives in a camper van. And when I last spoke to her yesterday or the day before yesterday, and she pulled over to the side of the road in Tuscany so that she could have a call with me. And then, went on to wherever she was going. Yeah.
So how did it get to be such a team? Did you start out as a writer with a team, or is this one of these things that got out of control?
No, it's not out of control at all. It's exactly where I want it to be. Actually, and there's more people. There's a PR company that I work with who I would have liked to have invited. However, I didn't start working with them until after Highclere was all arranged. And so it hasn't really got out of control. So when you start writing, it's just you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you're lucky, you've got somebody, a family member or a friend who is good enough at English that can proofread your book for you, your first book. And then you go online and find an editor, and then you go online and find a cheaper editor because editing is really expensive. And then you just work with this editor. Kind of really, they've got no skin in the game. They're not bought into it at all. You're just one of their clients, and that's fine. That's where you've got to start. And then you kind of put your book out there in the world. Here's my book, and I went and found a narrator before I met you, and he narrated some of my first books for me. And then as you go on, and today I wrote the end. I think it was. I have to don't quote me on this. I think it's book 58. It was my 58th book I've written. I wrote the end today. And you kind of realise that I can't write this much and do all the social media.
Yeah.
And obviously I don't do the editing and the proofreading, and manage all of that. And I mean, it's a business at the end of the day, so you've got accounts to do. So hence people and accountants and all that kind of stuff.
Tax specialist. Yeah.
Covers. I mean, you can pay a graphic designer to come up with your covers for you, and they tend to give you 3 and you pick one, and then you can make a few changes to that one. And that's kind of really limiting, you know? So I like to do the covers myself.
Because you do the photograph. You actually take the photographs at the locations.
Yeah, quite often, I'll go out to the actual place and take a photo. Yeah, I'll come up with the concept. So it's kind of 90% there, 95% there. And I'll hand it to my graphic designer to say, can you make this look any better? And she often does. And then when the book is finished and it's proofread and it's edited, and what that does, that gives you a page count. And it gives you a page count for paperback, hardback, large print, because obviously they've got different size fonts, different size paper, so it's a different amount of pages. So she'll go away and come back with those 3 formats of the covers, plus the audiobook cover, plus all the graphics for social media for the launch, plus update the website and add all the links in. So, and that was all stuff that I was doing, and it was stuff that I was doing not during the day, because if I was doing it during the day, then I wasn't writing. It would be sitting in front of the TV when it's supposed to be, or in the evenings when it's supposed to be my time with my wife. The kids are in bed. Right, we've got an hour, we've got 2 hours to be together. Oh, I can't do that, sorry. I need to do the paperback cover for my new launch. You know? So you start kind of really assessing, and it's not about a monetary cost, it's a time cost. So would I rather pay X and have one person do all of my graphics for me so it all looks uniform, or would I try and cobble it together myself? I'm not a graphic designer, I'm a photographer, but I'm not a graphic designer. There's 2 different things. I can take the photo that I want because I know how my covers are laid out, but graphic design is a different beast. So what would I rather do? Spend my time doing those little jobs, or spend my time writing and enjoying what I work so hard for? And on the other side of it, I've met these fantastic people. And Highclere Castle was the first time I'd met you, first time I'd met my graphic designer, first time I'd met my personal assistant. And she does things for me, like personal things in the house, as well as business stuff, it was a fantastic day. I loved it.
But they were a great bunch as well. I didn't know what to expect. I was surprised how many there were, and then I thought, oh yeah, well that all kind of makes sense. Well, you need that. And then when I got to talking to everybody, I think, because there was a lot there, and we were around a big table. But I think by the end of the day, I'd had at least a short chat with everybody, and everybody was just so cool, just really into it, just really good, a really good team.
Yeah, no, it is really good. Oh, and there's obviously, sorry, I'm forgetting somebody. There's a girl who works on my marketing with me. We do this together. Sarah, she's in Spain. She lives in Spain. She's in Madrid. So it's quite a not international, but a very European team.
Yeah.
Graphic designer who is currently living in Atlanta, funny enough, in the US. She lives there for 6 months of the year.
Yeah.
So to get everybody in one room and a castle was minus a handful of people was no mean feat.
Yeah. But to see how the whole system works. So I heard it once referred to as working on the critical inch is like, it was at a radio seminar, and it was some business guy, and he was saying, how much time because you get distracted in any kind of business, and you can end up getting bogged down with stuff that isn't actually making as big a difference. You can farm that out, and you can work on, as long as you're working on the critical inch, because that can get forgotten, and you have to do that, and that's what you're doing. Plus, I'm guessing the actual writing is the bit you enjoy the most as well. That's why you're doing this.
Yeah. Obviously, I love writing. Sometimes I do need to step away from the book to just have a think about it. I know the direction it wants to go.
Yeah.
Just get in there, and I could write and I could just get there, or
Yeah.
I could take a step back and I could do it well.
Right.
So, you know,
So you get that thing as another thing at one of these courses. There was a thing called brain parking. This, when you're trying to solve a problem, often you'll get the answer while you're shaving or in the shower or something, or driving. You have to park your brain and not think about it, and then the answer pops into your head, and it's usually the perfect answer. Do you find that as well then?
Quite often, I call that creative distance.
Yeah.
So, which is basically creative speak for procrastinating.
Doing something, just going, oh, I'm not going to do that now. You can't face it. Yeah.
I need to go and tidy the garage. Go and tidy the garage. There's no point carrying on work if you're thinking about tidying the garage. Maybe tidying the garage, but thinking about the book. And all of a sudden, you get a little idea.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, that's where I need to go. That's the direction of travel. Yeah.
Yeah. So how many books again? Is it 58?
I think it's 58, 57 or 58.
Over what time period is that then?
10 years, more than 10 years. Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's still a lot, isn't it? And were you full time for all 58, or was it one of those things that started out part time and grew?
It started out part time. I was living in Dubai. I'm not sure if I've told you this before.
Yes, you have. Yeah.
Working in IT.
You're working IT, back there. Yeah.
Head of IT for a fairly big architectural firm, and I was ticking things off my bucket list. You live abroad, you're away from all of the friends and family that you grew up with, make new friends, but you're away from everybody, and you just end up, or I just ended up, is either spending money or making something of myself. So I would go and tick things off my bucket list, learn to fly, learn to scuba dive. I did my degree. I did my master's degree. I didn't have a degree, so I wanted one. So I did that and wrote my first book. And then I think in 2019, when we moved home to the UK, was when I went full time. But I used to write under a different pen name then.
That would have been handy because that would have coincided with the pandemic, right?
2019. It wasn't far off. It wasn't home long. It was long enough to get married and get a dog. I'm trying to think back now. And then, it wasn't long after that. I think it was the summer of 2020, wasn't it? Or the spring of 2020.
Spring, I think it was it like the March? Well, I think we went into lockdown, didn't we? March, April of 2020.
But buying a house, furniture and doing all that stuff cost a lot more than what we figured.
Yeah.
International mortgage as well. So, that was a hell of a lot more than we.
So right.
Going back into work, I ended up writing for an IT company for a little while.
Yeah.
And still squirreling away in the background, building up my list of books and formulating the Jack Cartwright kind of being born. And then it happened, and I think a few kind of cogs just rolled into place at the right time, and we just went full time again.
And the books are set in Lincolnshire, and you use Lincolnshire is almost, well, no, it's not almost. It is an extra character in the book. Why is it you moved to Lincolnshire? Because I'm guessing you didn't move to Lincolnshire because you wanted to write some books that were set there. It was the other way around. You wrote, like, you got to write what you know, and that's where you were.
Yeah, so I was living in Dubai, and I was writing action thrillers based in London because that's where I'm from.
Yeah.
My original plan was my uncle had at the time 2 ranches in Montana. My original plan was just to go and rent one of his ranches, sit on the porch and just, this old romantic idea of sitting there watching the deer and all the other stuff walk by. Took my wife to Montana, loved Montana, but she didn't want to live there, which is I kind of see why, too many guns and it would have been very remote. And then we came, and her dad used to live in Dubai, and he bought a plot of land just a couple of miles from here. And we flew home from Dubai one time to go and visit her dad. First time meeting the dad. And I was driving through Lincolnshire, and it must have been summertime. All the hay bales rolled up and in neat rows in the fields, and it was stunning, absolutely beautiful. And I remember thinking, just driving along in this renter car, this is probably about as close as to Montana as I'm going to find in the UK. I mean, all right, we haven't got the Rockies kind of
Yeah.
tearing through the middle, but big open skies, which is what Montana's big sky country. Um, Flat fields, slow pace of life, just everything. And so beautiful. People are lovely. I love the people here. And so I said to her, we're going to move back to the UK. I don't want to move to London. And I didn't want to move to where she grew up. I'd be happy to move to Lincoln. So we started looking. When we got back, we was calling her dad, who was living here at that time, and sending him round on his push bike to look at houses. And we bought this one pretty much without looking at it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I did fly back to look at it. I don't think we'd already paid the deposit, so I just came back just before we exchanged. And by the time I actually got here, it was dark. So I looked at it in the dark. But you know what? It worked out really well. Yeah.
Yeah. Because sometimes in life, you've just got to go, yeah, I'm just going to do it instead of.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can
you
get
can keep
what was it?
calm.
Was it paralysis? What's the thing? There's an expression, and yeah, and the more you start thinking about it, the more reasons you find not to, and sometimes you've just got to do stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never looked back. And then, yeah, once I was here, so we moved back in the June, end of May, got married middle of June. January the 1st, 2020, her dad took us to Mogside Beach on the coast, obviously on the coast. Um, and I remember walking up the sand dune, and I knew I wanted to start a new series. I knew the pen name I was using, it was action thrillers, and it just didn't have the audience that I wanted, you know. And some of those people still read my books; they know who I am. Um, but I wanted to go into murder mystery, kind of police procedurals. And I remember walking onto that beach, walking up the sand. You walk up a sand dune and over, and then you've just got a big wild beach. No buildings, no amusements, no shops, plenty of dog walkers, and this is it. And I could have just pointed down at the ground. That's where the first body is going to be found. And that's the picture. I had my camera with me as well, so I took plenty of photos. Um, and yeah, I was just able to kind of build the first book off of that, just off of that, walking over that dune and just seeing that, and feeling the bites of the wind off the North Sea. You know, looked beautiful. It was freezing.
So, which
Yeah.
series was that? Because I've been narrating 3 series for you. Which series was that one?
That was Secrets in Blood, the first book in the Wild Fens,
Wild Fen series. Yes.
which it
Now,
probably isn't set in the Fens, but
because by the beach there. So, the Secrets from the Grave, that is the Deadly Wold series.
yes.
And this is number 5 in that series. How, for those who aren't familiar with these books, or maybe they've read one series and they're not reading another series, what is different about Deadly Wolds as opposed to DCI Cook and, of course, Wild Fens?
Okay, so DCI Cook books there's only 2 of them, and they are pretty much
So far.
So far, yeah. They are pretty much set in Lincoln. You know,
Yeah.
they do venture out, but most of it's set in Lincoln.
Yeah.
Wild Fens are set in the fens, the flat fens, if you like. The Wolds, which is the hilliest part of Lincolnshire, beautiful area. That's kind of to my east where we are now. I knew I wanted to write there. It would have been too far for the Wild Fens detectives to travel. So I needed a new team, and I'd kind of already introduced a new team. I think in book 6, 7, or 8 of the Wild Fens.
Yes,
you know.
when they went out there and were on assignment there, really, I suppose you'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a comment. So
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to write there because it's beautiful. It's stunning. I would live there in a heartbeat in the wilds. It's lovely. and you got so many great place names like Summersby, you know,
Yeah.
Bag Enderby. Like
Yeah.
that's, yeah, I mean, it's just, and they're beautiful. I went there with a film crew to film all the trailers, and obviously I go there. I was actually there uh, one day ago, Saturday, sorry, driving through there. And it's beautiful. I love it. It's just absolutely stunning, and it's completely different. So just in my head, describing it is a completely different narrative to as if I was describing the fence.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
that kind of sets a different tone. It's a bit more gritty. It's just a little bit less about the main characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if you've got a balance of character
You
driven,
haven't got the like in Wild Fens you've got that on again off again romance story
yeah,
arc,
I didn't want to do another
which
romance.
right, yeah, well that's not there in Deadly Waltz. I see what you mean. It is slightly grittier, isn't it, and a bit more procedural. Yeah.
It is, um, and it's an old man. He's an old man with a young.
A
Um,
wise old man though.
he's a very wise old man. Yeah.
He's a smart old buzzard, isn't he? Yeah.
So instead of having that, um, will they or won't they romance, I wanted more of a father daughter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're both teaching each other. He's teaching her, um, old school policing.
Yeah.
She's educated him on social media, and why you can't say that these days, right?
There's a lot of that, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it really works. There's a contrast, and it's conflict. People love conflict.
Yeah.
They just got on. It would be dull,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
Yeah, but they've both got challenges. I mean, the younger of the two, and we don't want to give away too many spoilers, but the younger of the two is dealing with um, relationship problems, shall we say? Her marriage is not going so well, and he, in this book, is coming out of a very emotional time for him. He's found himself alone after spending most of his life with his life partner. But in the previous couple of books before this, you wrote beautifully about, his partner gets dementia and his journey through that. And some of it was just heartbreaking when she didn't remember him and things like that. Did that come from anywhere from personal experience? Because it was so delicately done. It was just really nicely done. You could feel the love there, that that he had for her, but she wasn't responding in the way she used to. It was absolutely heartbreaking. When you had the investigation going on at the same time that he had to focus on and get a job done and bring some people to justice, some bad people, and he had to, catch the killers and that. Where did all that come from? Because it was so well done.
That's me talking to myself and not remembering who I am. The only experience I've really got with dementia of that kind of severity is my nan, and I didn't see too much of it, so I can't even say that I drew on that. There's a lot of empathy, but and I say this all the time, if you write good characters, all of that stuff will come out naturally. If you write characters that you can't just sit down and say, "Oh, I'm going to write about this old man. Yeah, his wife's going to have dementia, and like in a couple of other bits, and he's 5'10", and he likes to wear a tweed jacket. He's got little glasses, and he pushes them up every now and again." That's not writing a character. Writing a character, you need to be able to disengage from everything around you, and kind of be that person. So when that chapter is in that point of view, I said this to somebody the other day. When a chapter is in a particular point of view, the reader needs to really feel that person.
Yeah.
And if you've written the character well and you've kind of the foundations are there, all that stuff will come out. You're in this guy's head, and he's losing his wife. He's lost his wife. He's lost her, but she's already been gone for the past X amount of. Do you know what I mean? Because she doesn't know who he is. That stuff should come out. And then when you go to the next chapter and it's a different point of view, which I like to have a different point of view in every chapter, just it's a completely different perspective. And the way I was describing it to somebody, it was actually a couple of weeks ago by email. It's by a guy who's read everything I've ever written, and he's been, I think he's written his first book now. I've had a look at it as well, and I think he's going on. And I was just explaining to him, okay, there's two detectives in an interview room, and there's one guy sitting opposite. The older detective, the bloke, watches this guy on the other side of the table. You know, he's got dirty, grubby fingers. His hair's lank and he's a mess. His shirt's untucked, and he's slouching. And he pulled in that chapter. He's describing. You've already got, I'm guessing, like some kind of negative connotations about that they're sitting opposite. The next chapter's in the female detectives, and this isn't a sexist thing. It works both ways. She actually quite admires this guy. His hair is today's fashion. He hasn't got his shirt tucked in, looking all square. He's actually relaxed. The way he's sitting, he's very confident. And you know his hands are dirty, and you can see the definition in his arms. He works for a living, you know.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
is that? Do you think that's why you're? Because I find the way you write the characters is so real. So that when I'm reading it, when I'm narrating it, when I was in radio, we were always told that, you know, especially when I started out in Australia, where we voiced all the commercials as well. You don't tend to do that here. You just tend to do it on the air. And your copywriter will give you a script and you have to act out the scene in the commercial. And they're only just short sketches, obviously. But we were always told there's a big difference between portraying a character and doing a funny voice. Because when you do a funny voice, there's nothing to them. It's just an old man voice or whatever. But when you're doing a character, that's when it'll really sell the product that, you know, you're supposed to be voicing. Yes. And it's very, very easy with your stuff to do the characters, because you only have to read a couple of pages of the character and you go, I know what he's going to be like. I know exactly who that's going to be. And then I can voice them like that. And it's wonderful the way you write them. And I never noticed that, of looking at them from different points of view. But yeah, it's there. It's there all through with your characters.
It needs to be, doesn't it? I mean, like, you could say that about a house. Those same detectives arrive at a house. The old guy, oh, look at this. This is a bit of me. I like this. Look at that ivy creeping up the walls and the cornices. And she would be, oh my God, imagine the heating. You know,
it'd be a bugger to heat. Yeah.
Yeah. You won't be the one that has to clean all that. Yeah. It's you can write that about anything, and you need those different perspectives. But as well as having the characters, you need the dialogue that matches them.
Yes, it's got to fit. It's got to fit.
Yeah, I put a great deal of effort into making sure my dialogue is character relevant. You know, because you could go through a whole book writing the same dialogue for all of the characters, and then you would pick the book. I would send the book to you, and you'd have real trouble. You would. Yeah. You could put an accent to it, and you could, or the tone, or the nasality, or you could do all that stuff, but it'll be flat.
Yeah.
Because when Gillespie speaks, you need to know it's Gillespie speaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when Freya speaks, you need to know it's Freya speaking, even without the accent. This is what I always say, the way she structures a sentence, the way somebody who had a private education and is, or maybe not even private educated, maybe somebody who's just English educated, the way they structure the sentence, and I say they because I'm on the other kind, the way they structure a sentence is vastly different to the other 70% of the country.
Yeah, I can look at a line of dialogue from your book, as long as I know the series, and I can pretty much tell you who said it, because they're not interchangeable, which shows and that's what good dialogue shouldn't be interchangeable between the characters. It should only work properly if it's written for that character, in that character's voice. Yeah. Do you feel you get to know them really, really well?
Yeah, I do, especially by the time I come to the end of a chapter. So sometimes a chapter can take me a couple of hours. Sometimes it takes half an hour. If it's a really good, and I've been looking forward to it. Sometimes things need to happen in that chapter, and they need to happen in a particular order.
Oh,
And you
because
need
we haven't even spoken about the plots, but the plots are so great, so many twists, so intricate, so many twists and turns, and you think you've worked it all out, and you haven't. Yeah, and then bang, then something else happens, and it makes you reevaluate like 4 or 5 chapters back. You go, all right, okay, all right, oh, I see, brilliant, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I interrupted because we didn't, but I just wanted to mention that about the plots. Yeah, we were talking about the characters and how you have to do certain things and give them certain amount of dialogue to move the plot along. Yeah, that's what you were saying.
Yeah, I've kind of lost my train of thought.
No, it's
now.
all right. Yeah, but you were talking about how the dialogue fits the character and it belongs to the character and it's written in the voice of the character. But you also have to give them things to say and do to make the plot work. Yeah.
So not only is it you can't just have a few characters in a chapter and they're just talking. That's dull. They need actions around that, and those actions, if you're trying to achieve something at the end of the chapter, which I try to do in every chapter, needs to achieve something.
Yeah.
Sometimes 3 or 4 things need to be achieved. They need to talk to Chapman and she needs to relay a piece of information, which means that when they talk to Gillespie and he relays his piece of information, they can put those two together, that these two couldn't because they're separate.
Yeah.
And then a third piece of information comes in that either really adds weight to the first 2 pieces of information, or it just knocks it flat and they're left reeling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You have to really build it up. And then on the last line, bang, there's this third piece of information, and it's either great, let's go, or it's bugger.
Go back to the beginning. Yeah,
Right?
yeah. No, it is so good. Did you have any training in the structure of writing and how to do this?
You know what? I did the same training that everyone has access to. I read a ton of books throughout my life. When I was a kid, in a car going on a journey, I would be reading. When I was in London, so I was on the tube every day, and on the District line, if anyone remembers the District line on the Rattler, it would be sometimes an hour and a half if I was doing a job in Wembley, for example. So I was at the Upminster end, and sometimes an hour and a half, maybe more, and I'd just take books. I read a lot of books. And I think I learned a lot. I don't remember reading thinking, oh, that's very well structured. I think I just absorbed.
Yeah. All great writers were great readers. I saw a documentary about Galton and Simpson, who wrote Hancock's Half Hour and then Steptoe and Son. And I can't remember which one of them it was, got really sick when they were a kid. I think they had like pleurisy or something, or whatever. And they ended up reading, and that's what did it. It's always, isn't it, about you've got to be a reader first.
Yeah, I wish I had more time to read. At the minute, I do audiobooks. And if I read any self-help books, then they are kind of, they're usually hardback or occasionally an ebook. And I'll just flick, because they're usually quite quick. So I could probably do, especially with the amount of audiobooks that I read, probably, I don't know, 30 or 40 books a year, which is quite a lot.
You read 30, as well as all the writing,
I listen to them audio.
Oh, of course, right, I see, yeah.
I don't sit there. I've got 2 kids, I haven't got that much time. I put a pair of headphones on when I go to sleep, when I go to bed.
Yeah.
They're a special sleeping one, so they're flat and they're comfy. It's like a headband, and I look like an idiot, but it's brilliant. Yeah. And they connect Bluetooth to your phone, and I will go to bed, listen to it, and then the next night I have to try and work out, this is the game, work out where it was I went to sleep.
Right. They need to come up with some headphones like an Apple Watch or something that can work out when you're asleep. There must be something that happens to the brain or something.
Connected together. I've just, before we started talking, I've just put my daughter to bed, and she usually goes straight down. She's usually quite good. Took an hour today. So headphones in, audiobook on. You can sit there and cry as much as you like. I'll just be here and I'll just let you know that I'm here. You know, they'll shh. just while I'm listening to a story. Yeah,
Wow.
you just
Wow.
carry on. Yeah,
Because
otherwise it's boring.
I think some readers are anti-audiobook, aren't they? They don't think it's a real book. They don't think it's the same if you're not reading the words off the page.
Yeah, it's the same. I think it's the same. Everyone's entitled to an opinion, but they're wrong.
All I know for a fact is audiobooks is the fastest growing sector in publishing right now, and it's
Yeah,
been the graph is a hockey stick graph of just how popular they're
yeah,
becoming. My theory is why they became so popular in the last 5 to 10 years is that podcasting became popular at about that time, and people got used to audio
yeah.
only entertainment on demand, and then they gravitated towards something that's more structured than a lot of podcasts. It's written by writers and
I love listening. If the narrator's right, I've just been recommended a book that I don't have time to read, like flick through the pages. So I bought the audiobook, which is annoying because with Audible you only get 1 credit per month with your
yeah,
membership.
yeah,
And I spent my credit on this book. And don't get me wrong, I usually buy 2 or 3, 4 books a month with Audible anyway, but I spent my credit on this one and I was annoyed because it sounded like it was narrated by AI. Yeah, and I won't give the name because it's not fair, but it was a very good crime author and a
right.
very highly critiqued book. Brilliant book by all accounts. I'll never get to the end because I just couldn't get through
There's
the
no
first.
there's no feeling in it. It probably was written. Maybe
No,
it was.
apparently because I looked the narrator up
All right.
and other stuff, and then I looked through the reviews, which I should have done first. I looked through the reviews, and there was other people saying I couldn't do this. It sounded like a robot talking, and da 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 da.
Wow, I just phoned it in.
Yeah. But if you can find a good narrator, yeah, I could listen. There's some narrators I could listen to for ages, yourself included, obviously.
Thank
The
you.
guy that did John something, the guy that did the Wilbur Smith books.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, he's gonna get a top guy. Wilbur Smith's gonna surely. They're gonna.
I went on not only to read or listen to the rest of Wilbur Smith's books that were narrated by this guy. Was it
Yeah.
Sean something or John something? But I went on to listen to other authors.
Was it Scott Brick? Scott Brick is a very famous American narrator. He does a lot of big series. No.
The narrator. The guy, and he spoke very good, kind of South African Joburg accent.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay. Yeah.
He's also
Right.
in Africa.
Yeah.
Stunning, really beautiful. And you just get lulled into this, like the voice just pulls you along. It's lovely. Yeah, really, really good. And the accents and the different voices were just effortless as well.
Right.
Yeah, really.
So how did you find? We've done a lot of books together. How did you find the experience of turning this one, Secrets from the Grave? How do you find the experience of turning this one into an audiobook?
Well, it's really easy. I send it to you.
I think I ask you this every time, hoping that I'll get something stunning, and it's always like, no, I just give it to you and you just do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the same as working with a graphic designer. It's the same as working with marketing people or my PR team and the social media. This is what we want to achieve, and I have to trust. If I didn't trust you to do it,
Yeah,
you wouldn't do it, right?
yeah.
And if has people work on their projects that they don't fully trust, you've either got trust issues or you've got the wrong person, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, is it a management thing? I don't know.
Probably.
People.
Probably.
Yeah.
It certainly was in radio. If you're trying to micromanage a DJ's, because I've run some radio stations, and if you're trying to and I've also been run by some terrible bosses. If they're micromanaging you, they either don't trust you or they've hired the wrong guy. Just get someone else if you want it to sound like that. Yeah.
If that's what you want, then it's not for me. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
How do I find it? I do find it very easy. You'll notice at the beginning of the document that I send you now, I always have a chapter called Notes for Graham.
Yes.
So while I'm writing, there's a particular accent or there's a particular trait that a character has
Yeah.
that isn't necessary. I don't really want to say, oh, Stephen's, I don't know, what's the word? I don't want to say something that's going to offend somebody. He's not the brightest
Yeah.
ball in the box.
Yeah.
I don't want to describe that. I just want that to come across in his language. But I don't want you to have already narrated half a paragraph of him talking before you realise that. So I put
Yeah.
these little notes in to say, by the way, Graham, Stephen is, he wasn't a grade A student.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
when
want
we
to.
first did when we did the first one, the first Wild Fens book, you cast them. You gave me suggestions of actors and actresses that you
Yeah,
thought would be, and that was really helpful to get the. And I think over
I don't.
time they became the characters for me became more. That was a place for where I started, but they became more than that as I got to know each of the characters. For
Yes,
me, yeah,
yeah. At first, they start off being inspired by.
yeah,
Um, and then before long, it's in my head solidified. Um, but what I'd never want to do is insult the actor who they're kind of based on, if you know what I mean. But you got to have a
we
starting
should
block.
we should probably not say in case you get sued or something for stealing. Oh,
Um,
I don't know what it is. Yeah,
it's incredible because when you do that, when you inspire a character on a particular actress or actor that you've seen in a dozen different TV shows. So when your character's strolling across or striding across the incident room, you can see how she's walking. You know,
yeah, yeah,
with purpose. She's
yeah,
not edging around people. She's going through people. You know, when she talks to someone, she's not waiting to be heard. She's being heard
yeah,
because you've seen her do it, and you
yeah,
can describe that.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
works to have that. Yeah.
They are great. I've loved every single book I've done of yours. Every one has been just
Oh, fantastic! I hope
terrific.
you like. You've got
I love them. If I wasn't being, I probably shouldn't say this, but if I wasn't, if there wasn't some financial gain for me in doing them, I would be a fan anyway because they're just great. They are just
Thank you.
great books.
Thank
Great
you.
books. So many twists and turns. And I think I've said it to you before. I get to the end of the day and my wife says, so what were you working on today? I said, oh, this new Jack Cartwright one. You won't believe, Freya did this or, Gillespie said this, and then, and I end up, just retelling. It was part of my day. That was what my day involved. And it was fun, and no, I just love them. They're just great. They're just great books.
Yeah. So I wrote the end today, and it's quite. I usually have quite long, drawn out endings. So I typically, I don't know where I heard it, but I put a chapter in at the end called cigarettes. You have the story finishes, and then you have cigarettes, and then you have the ending, which kind of wraps up all the subplots. So it's not about the crime; it's about the characters. And the cigarettes chapter comes from, I want to say Terry Pratchett.
Right.
Don't quote me on that. It's basically from the old 70s American detective shows when they've nailed the villain, he's in prison, and they're sitting around the table smoking and they're talking about, so how did you work this out? What happened then? And that's when they kind of unveil how the pieces come together. And it's basically a place to, if you couldn't get that stuff out in the end, to tell
Yeah.
the reader how they found all these bits of information out, then that's the place to do it.
Yeah.
So I wrote that chapter today and the end chapter with Gillespie, and there was it's some lovely ones. So instead of having a nice long drawn out ending, it's Gillespie and Cruz. I won't spoil it too much. Walking off, arguing.
Yeah.
I can't say.
They don't get on. Yeah.
If you know the series, it's kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
lovely. It's like a Laurel and Hardy moment.
It is because Cruz is so wet behind the ears, and Gillespie has a great deal of life experience and some very strong opinions, and there's friction there and drama. Yeah.
And I've had to put something in. So we were sitting around a dinner table because we like to eat dinner at the table. We're still quite traditional like that. Earlier on, where are we now? What day is it today? Monday. So it must have been late last week. And my daughter came out with a saying. And when somebody hears a common saying but they mishear it.
Yeah.
Like people say, is it damp squid or damp squib?
Yeah.
You know, like that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
My daughter come out with something, and I snatched up my phone and I wrote it down, and I messaged it to my wife. Like, why did you send me that? Because I can't forget that. That's going in a book. Yeah. So I'm really excited to have a piece written by
Can
my
you say what that is, or
4-year-old.
do you want to make that a surprise in the book?
I think I'll make it a surprise.
Great. Okay. I look forward
Yeah.
to that.
They'll know it now. If anyone listens to this interview and then reads the book, it's not coming out for a couple of months, but when it comes out, yeah,
Okay.
it's brilliant. Yeah,
You mentioned Terry Pratchett there, and you've also said that you listen to on audiobook and you read a lot of books. Do you have, and you also mentioned there was a writer who is a fan who is now a writer. Do you have much interaction with other writers? Is there a writers thing you belong to or anything?
yeah. I am very close with J.M. Dalgleish, Jason. I talk to and email lots of other writers. So if you looked at one of my book pages on Amazon, and you'll see all the other writers below, I talk to a lot of those. Well, I mentioned too many people without upsetting them, but there's quite a few.
And do you exchange ideas? Do you nick ideas? Sorry, exchange ideas?
No. I mean, sometimes I've helped.
I don't mean just
other-
about for stories. I mean just for marketing and things like that too.
Oh yeah, yeah. And if sales are really bad on a particular day, I'll message somebody and say, "How's things going for you?" And then if they send back one of those emojis when somebody's crying, well, it's not just me then.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, if the sun's shining, it doesn't always help sales because people want to get outside and do the garden and other bits and pieces. And yeah, it's as long as it's not you, it's a market thing. It doesn't matter. It goes up and down throughout the year.
Yeah.
So yeah, do talk a lot. Yeah.
And you are going to hang out soon with quite a few writers. In fact, people can meet you. It's at the Lincoln Book Festival. That's on the 4th of October. And
Yes.
you're actually doing a turn, aren't you?
Apparently, yes. Yeah.
What can we expect? I mean, have you done this kind of thing before?
On a smaller scale, I don't even when I say that, I don't know how many people are going to be here.
Yeah.
I've been to quite a few events and spoken to people. I prefer to answer questions, but I'll speak if I'm pushed.
Right. Okay.
I don't know what to expect. Apparently, it's in the auditorium, but I don't know if the whole of the book show is in the auditorium or if I'm going to be in a little side room the size of a phone box. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just have no expectations at all. So I will go there. I'll have something prepared if I need to talk.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'll answer questions. And to be honest, if I'm answering questions such as we're doing now, you can't prepare for that because every question you've asked me tonight so far has been from a different angle. So you can't prepare for that, right?
Yeah.
You just have to open yourself up. That's all you can do is open yourself up and be honest.
Yeah, I don't think that's all people want, So if you are in the area, if you're near the Lincoln Arts Centre, October the 4th at 7:30 p.m. That's October the 4th, 2025, in case you're watching this far into the future and you've missed it. But if you are around on October the 4th, 2025, Lincoln Arts Centre, 7:30 p.m., you can actually meet and ask questions, it looks like.
I don't know if I'm talking. There's definitely going to be a Q&A, and I'm definitely doing some book signings at the end. That's
Brilliant.
That's about as much as I know.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about your new office as well. Do you want to talk about that? Can you talk us through this? Because in your newsletter that I'm signed up for, there was quite a bit on the new office. Well, photos anyway.
Yeah, well, it caused so much disruption into my workflow that I felt like I had to put a bit on there. I was working in here on a pasting table at one point, it was pretty rough because I like to lean on my desk and the pasting tables, they're not that strong, are they? I had a big one of the biggest fit out companies locally in Lincoln. I'll say biggest. I would say they're one of the best around here. And the quality of the work, yeah. And I say this, if you go to my website, jackcartwrightbooks.com, have a look at my news, my blog. There's a whole blog video there on my office where you get to see it in kind of a bigger view than just this view. And I talk about the companies that did all the work for me. So Robes and Rouse did this. There's a company that did the sign. There's a company that did the floor. But it's been a game changer. It really has.
Is the space you work in, is it that important, is it?
Oh, I think so. Yeah. So I'll sit here and I'll do a lot of my admin on, like, I've got a computer here, or I've got my recliner chair over there. I'll go and take my laptop and do some editing. I've got the Apple VR thing, the Vision Pro. I don't know if you've ever seen them.
No, it sounds amazing.
If I really want to kind of get rid of any distractions, I'll put my VR on, and it basically gives me a 360 degree screen. I can have, like, my screen can be 360 degrees, or I can actually have it sitting on a lake, and I can sit on the edge of a lake. The screen can be in the middle of it.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
And the rain's coming down, and you can hear the rain, and it's all lovely, and you can hear the gentle breeze and all of this stuff. And then you can have the other windows around, like your web browsers and stuff. So I do that quite often. So I do have different spaces for achieving different things, and sometimes I get frustrated and I know plot, like point A and point B in a story, and I can't connect them up. So I'll come over here and I've got a big A2 pad here and I'll draw it out. Or I'll go online and I've got like a mind map tool online and I'll do it. Or I'll go in my VR and kind of shut everything off, all the outside noise away, and just focus on it. Sometimes I'll just go for a walk, and that's typically where I find the answers.
Yeah.
But it is lovely, and I like having all the nice lights. It's just a pleasure to come down. It's just an absolute pleasure to come to work.
Yeah.
First time I've had that in a long, long time. Like, in the space, I love working, but actually to be in a space that, it's phenomenal.
Great. All right. Well, the website is jackcartwrightbooks.com. I'll put a link in the description. I'll also put a link to where you can download the latest in the Deadly Wold series, which is Secrets from the Grave. We talked about 4th of October, Lincoln Arts Centre. What else is next for Jack Cartwright?
What else is next? So what else is next for Graham Mack? You will, in 2 weeks, be receiving the book that I finished today.
That's Wild Fens, is it?
Sorry, 2 weeks. In 2 weeks' time, it's going to be going to the editor. So
Yes.
it's going to a proofreader first, and you'll get that in another 2 or 3 weeks. So probably 4 or 5 weeks from now, you're going to be getting the next book. And in 6 or 7 weeks from now, you're going to be getting the next one, because I've actually got 2 finished books sitting right here. That's book 6.
Are they both the same? Oh, sorry, what are they? They're
book 6 in the Deadly Wolds.
Yes.
And book 17 in Wild Fens.
Great.
So, yeah, they are going to be going through the editing machine right now, and then they'll be coming to you.
Brilliant. Looking forward to it. Continued success, Jack, and thanks, as always, for choosing me as your narrator for these books. I love them.
No, it's an absolute pleasure to work with you, mate. Thank you.
Brilliant. Jack Cartwright, thanks a lot.
Cheers, mate.